Now, Chuck Schumer has proposed a few changes to President Biden's spending bill. These changes will greatly affect many families and Social Security beneficiaries. Here is the latest and most up-to-date stimulus check, Social Security, and SSI, SSDI information that you have to know. So you want to be sure to stay until the end of the video, folks. So we will see a lot of action be taken by congressional Democrats this week. Lawmakers are going to be very busy with a packed to-do list, which includes potential election reform, government funding, and getting important parts of President Biden's economic agenda signed into law. So the slow movement on getting any bills passed in Congress has definitely prompted some angst among Democrats, specifically the frontliners running for re-election. With Biden's approval ratings drastically decreasing, Democratic lawmakers are scrambling to demonstrate success by delivering on past promises to the American people, like curbing prescription costs. But there remains a big obstacle in the way, and that is Joe Manchin. I know many of you were disappointed when Manchin came out in opposition to the package, but some Democrats are urging the Senate to pass a chunk of the bill before others. A group of lawmakers want to advance the $555 billion portion of the package focused on combating the climate crisis. But this section is different than others because it is a section of the bill that Manchin previously said he could support. A representative of New Jersey said that climate change simply should not be a partisan issue and it is just something that we must do. Now, Joe Biden has already said he believed the Democratic Party could agree to the climate section of the plan, largely made up of tax credits designed to ease the transition to cleaner energy sources. The good news is that Manchin appears interested in working with Senator Susan Collins of Maine and a group of over a dozen senators on a bipartisan election reform deal. Joe Manchin told Insider, "We can work on everything, but election reform is a thing. We want to make sure we get done quickly." Manchin added that future negotiations on the centerpiece of Biden's agenda will be starting from scratch. Momentum is also building on Congress for more stimulus relief, funding to support low-income Americans, restaurants, and other businesses struggling to stay afloat in the face of the latest wave of the crisis. Now, this is some awesome news, friends. I know many seniors and families could use more relief right now, and lawmakers involved in negotiations say support has been funding aimed at supporting Americans and businesses that have been negatively impacted by the crisis. Democratic Senator Ben Cardin is the chair of the Senate Small Business and Entrepreneurship Committee. Cardin expressed optimism when discussing he and Senator Rogers' effort to gain more backing for the push among their colleagues. The senators told The Hill that we are continuing to get bipartisan support. Cardin also said the primary focus in talks has been to replenish relief funding for Americans and restaurants, after a previous batch of funds allocated by Congress ran out months back. Advocates say that funding would come at a crucial time, as restaurants continue to grapple with the economic effects of the ongoing crisis. So I do think Congress should pass another stimulus package that provide all Americans and businesses with more financial assistance. Multiple sources are telling The Hill that the funding cannot happen soon enough, noting thousands of restaurants are closed permanently or long-term as many businesses find a hard time recovering during the crisis. It's really sad to see that many small restaurants are still incredibly vulnerable right now. Last year, lawmakers approved more than $28 billion in relief funds designated for restaurants as part of the Restaurant Revitalization Act. Advocates say that while those funds were effective in helping many restaurants remain operating in the short term, a chunk of restaurants were left behind in the process. Some advocates are also pushing lawmakers to ensure businesses in other industries receive more financial relief during the crisis. So I do agree that the American people should receive additional stimulus aid as this crisis continues. What are your thoughts on this, everybody? Tell me in the comments down below. And do you believe that President Biden is doing all that it takes to send out more stimulus payments?
Jane, thank you. Thank you very, very much. I want to thank Secretary Granholm and Buttigieg and Gina McCarthy for being here today, and Congressman Jim Cooper, an old friend who did an awful lot to get this to go in Tennessee. And Governor Bill Lee of Tennessee, he deserves credit as well. He wasn't able to be here today, but he worked hard to help make this happen. Another example of what America can achieve when we come together, Democrats and Republicans, to get things done. The new manufacturing facility of tritium that's announced today is more than just great news for Tennessee. Yes, it's going to create more than 500 good-paying jobs in Tennessee, but it's going to deliver greater dignity and a little more breathing room to workers and their families, and it's going to have a ripple effect beyond and far beyond the one state. This is great news for workers across the country, for an economy, and frankly, for the planet. When we wrote and passed the bipartisan infrastructure law, we included $7.5 billion for electric vehicle chargers, like the one Jane brought along today. It's a little thing here, you can see. But all kidding aside, Secretaries Granholm and Buttigieg have been helping lead this effort from our administration. And later this week, we're going to announce a state-by-state allocation for $5 billion of the funding for these chargers. So states can start making plans to build out what will become a national network of electric vehicle chargers. Tritium's new facility is going to produce up to 30,000 of these chargers every year. They'll use American parts, American iron, American steel, and they'll be installed up and down the highways and corridors in our communities all across the country by union workers from the IBEW and the Electrical Workers Union. So the benefits are going to ripple to thousands of miles in every direction. And these jobs will multiply in steel mills, small parts suppliers, construction sites all over the country in the years to come. And it's going to help ensure that America leads the world in electric vehicles. China has been leading that race up to now. But this is about to change, because America is building convenient, reliable, equitable, national public charging networks. So wherever you live, charging an electric vehicle will be quick and easy. And the foundation will help help American automakers set the pace for electric vehicles, which means even more good-paying jobs producing batteries, materials, and parts. That's also going to help save hundreds of billions of gallons of gasoline over time, saving an average driver who chooses an electric vehicle up to $1,000 every year on fuel, making our country more economically competitive, lowering air pollution, and keeping families healthier as we tackle the climate crisis. Here's the key point. Announcements like this don't happen by accident. They require a vision and a commitment to build a future that's made in America. I made it clear from day one, when the federal government spends taxpayers' dollars, we're going to buy American. American products made in America, including American component parts. That's why I established the Made in America office at the White House, led by Celeste Drake. She's here on the stage. Where is Celeste? There she is. Celeste Drake. To ensure that the $1 trillion we're investing in infrastructure is spent on American workers and American manufacturing. On the way over here, by the way, I was talking with Gina. We were talking about, we have how many vehicles in a fleet, Gina, roughly?
600,000.
We have 600,000 federal vehicles that the federal government owns. They're going to all end up being